Okay, so this is a video on how to change an oil pressure sending unit. This happens to be on a 2008 Hummer H2. This isn't going to be complete, it's kind of half-assed, but you'll get the idea. Every video I looked at before showed that you had to go down. Here's the engine. Let me give you some perspective. There's a plastic splash shield that goes on top of the engine that just pops off. There's no bolts, there's just kind of wiggle it off. It's got rubber grommets. The videos I saw said, A, pull the intake manifold. Well, that's a pain in the ass. There's no way I'm pulling the intake manifold to change a stupid oil pressure sending unit sensor. So they showed going down. Here's the hood latch. My hood tips forward, so yours probably won't look that way unless you happen to have a Hummer. But this is a 6.2 typical 6.2 liter Chevy engine LS. So on the driver's side, if you come down, here's your fuel rail. They showed going down around back behind here between the firewall, and if you reach way back and down, you can feel the oil pressure sending unit. It's about dead center of the firewall, left to right, passenger to driver's width. And they showed going down with the oil pressure sending unit socket, which I would suggest getting, not trying to half-ass using a different socket. Just buy the damn thing and use it. Then coming off of that with a wobbly to an extension to where it comes back up to the firewall with another wobbly, another extension, and then, a ratchet. Well, that wobbly crap just doesn't work. So what does work is, if you look back here, let me get this wire out of the way. If you look way back there, you can see that wiring loom that goes through that U. That's just a plastic shield back there, but it feeds to the back towards the firewall, away from the front of the engine, and then goes back down there. Straight down is your oil pressure sending unit. So if you get an extension, so this is what the setup looks like. So there's the socket, the oil pressure sending unit socket, and there's a wobbly, or excuse me, there's a extension on it, and then I have a 1/2 inch to a 3/8 adapter on top of that, which makes it the perfect length. If you get too long extension, it hits the firewall, it hits the top of the firewall. If you get too short of extension, you can't get a socket on it. So when you put that in there, your fuel rail, that this braided line right here, this braided line wraps around to the back of the engine. You want to put the extension, you want to put the socket and the extension on the inside of that line, so between that line and the engine block, so it lines up straight. There should be enough slack for it to tuck in there just perfectly. When it does that, if it's on the outside of it, it won't drop down onto the fuel sending unit or the oil pressure unit. So you need to put it on between the fuel rail, hose line, and the engine block, and then it'll come straight up. It'll come right up there. You stick a socket on it and give it a little wiggle, and it'll come out. I'll stop this and I'll show you in a second. I've already got it out, so I'm putting it back in. I'm not going to show you the whole damn thing. If you can't figure it out by now, then you probably just call your mechanic. So just to update you, how am I going to get this in the hole? Well, on that, I am going to go in through this back way. I'm going to go back. I'm going to reach back here. I'm not going to do, I got to, so anyway, you go back here, reach way back down there. You can feel it, hand to get it started. And then I'm going to go down on top of it with the socket and bring the extension up through there and put the ratchet on and tighten it down. Okay, it's rolling.
All right.
So I'm gonna, Jesus. That was my friend dropping tools.
Which he will need eventually.
Nice thing about the Hummer is the hood tilts forward, so you got lots of room. But as you can see, I'm going way back here. I'm reaching way down in, and just gonna hand start this thing. Here, pull that back a little bit. My head's not right in it.
Now we're missing your head. Now we got your head.
I don't want my head in it.
Okay, now we don't.
Nobody wants to see my head.
We gotta zoom in.
Be patient. Just wiggle it around. It'll eventually go. Or not. God, come on. Hey, GM engineers. Thanks, man. Like you couldn't have put the engine oil pressure sending unit in a more convenient spot. I know. Engineer to keep the dealers in business. Don't engineer for home mechanics. Engineer for dealers. It's probably a $500 job at a dealer. Okay, so I got a hand started. So now what I'm going to do is take my setup here. This is a little, there's no wobbly there, but it's pretty sloppy. Reminds me of someone I used to date. Okay, so I'm just going to tuck that back there. You can see how it's lining up. The sun's in the shadows right away. But anyway, you can see how, just follow that wiring loom, basically, and drop it straight down. And again, you want to go on the inside between the engine, and there's a braided hose and some looms and stuff back there. You want to drop it straight down. If you try to go on the back side of it, it's not going to line up. You can see it wobbling around up there. So now it's just a matter of trying to just fish it down on there, and there. Now it's sitting there. So you can see the height is exact. If you just use, I don't know what that is, probably a 6 or an 8-inch extension, it won't be long enough. If you use a 10-inch, it's too long. So you probably have to use an extension and maybe a single adapter, but you want the ratchet to go right there. You want it to be this height. If you go too high, you can't hit it. If you go too low, you can't hit it. And where's my ratchet?
It's the one that
ratchet man is out here. Give me. Oh, got some editing to do.
Oh, look, there it is on the ground.
Okay, trade me. Okay, so this happens to be a 1/2-inch ratchet. You don't have to use a 1/2 inch. You can use a 3/8. And kind of just be patient. Find the hole. Come on. Okay. And start wrenching. Now I didn't get it very finger tight, so I got a lot of wrenching to do. So Cameron.
Yes, sir.
Have I told you about my dirty Hummer?
You have, and there are some good videos of it. Probably right next to this one.
I've been told I've got the dirtiest Hummer in town.
Definitely do. The only one in town.
You know?
I don't even think we have another Hummer in town.
MyDirtyHummer.com or just DirtyHummer.com, whatever you prefer.
This is where you'll find this video, and if you're here, you already know where you're at.
Check out me taking this beast off-road, keeping up with all those Jeeper creepers. Those guys in those Jeeps. I don't know about those Jeep owners. What do you think, Cameron?
Well, you know, I am one of those Jeep owners, so a bunch of great people.
They are. They let me go along.
They do. We let you come along. And it's the only Hummer usually in town.
I mean, when we're out in Moab or Colorado or God knows where, you don't see... I don't think I've ever bumped into another H2 really off-road. I mean, you know, not just like on the gravel Forest Service road going to the lake. I mean, you know, three-wheeling. Yeah, people are amazed. Jeep guys stand back and they're like, what the hell?
Yeah, he ain't gonna make it with us, but
Yeah,
he always
ain't
does.
making it. Okay, so it's tight, and now I just got to figure out how to get that damn socket off of there. But that's my problem and your problem. You'll figure it out. But that's how you do it. And then find the wiring harness, the sensor connector, click it on, and you should no longer have that annoying ding, ding, ding.
No.
Okay, bye.